Hello, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you all to our third chapter of the Python Beginners Tutorial. So here in this particular chapter, we will understand about the basic concept about variables. Okay, so throughout this chapter, we will learn that how you will be able to use variable and what a variable is, how you will be able to use it inside your code. We will learn in detail about variables. So we will cover each and everything to get you started with Python programming. So variable is an important part which you will include in most of your programming. So we will learn each and everything in detail about this particular topic. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here on my screen, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the homepage and I also do have created up a new project. Okay. So from here, if you do want to create another new project, let's click on new project. Let's click on pure Python and I'm going to name this one as Python tutorial. Okay. So under this particular project, I will be creating all of my page. Let's click on create. Now over here, so let's click on this window. And here you guys can see now over here they do have created me this particular project. And here onto the left hand side into the extension, okay? So you guys can see that I do have the Python tutorial file. And from here now let's create a new Python file where I can do my programming. So now let's right click, let's click on new, and from new I will just click on Python file. Okay, so over here into this particular class, as I have already told you that we are going to learn about variables. Okay, so once you type variables, you need to make sure that you use dot and py. Okay, so this is the extension of Python, which is dot py. Let's click on enter. And here you guys can see that I do have the place where I will be able to code. Okay. So now as we are going to learn about variables, first we need to understand that what is a variable. So if I just tell you guys in a simple word, a variable is basically a container inside which you guys can store your datas. Okay. So if I show you guys with some example, maybe you guys will understand it in a better way. Let's say if I just type over here name, okay, and I will just give the equals to sign, and now over here I will come and let's open my double quote, and inside this one let's type Hamilton. Okay, so I'll just type Hamilton right over here. Let's give this one up a capital H, and as you guys can see, inside this particular variable, I do have this information, which is my name. Okay, so this one is basically like a container. So here you guys can see once I put my mouse on top of my name, here you guys can see it is showing me that this one is basically a variable. Okay, and also it is showing you guys str equals to Hamilton, which we'll learn later because that is basically a data type. Okay, so I won't confuse you guys with what is data type over here. We will just go slowly that you guys get a better understanding about programming, because once your basics are strong, you guys will be able to understand Python programming quite better. Okay, so as you guys can see, I do have mentioned that, okay, inside this name variable, I do have this particular information. So let's say if I do want to print, so let's click on enter. And now over here, I will just use this print function. Okay, so as you guys already know that print is basically a function. Let's open parenthesis. And over here, now I want to type this particular information, which is Hamilton or this particular name. But over here, I don't have to type Hamilton. What I need to do is I need to mention the variable which I want to print. Okay, so here you guys can see that the name here is the variable. Okay, so over here, if I just type name, you guys can see here it's showing me with a small v. So I can just click over here as well. And now let's say if I do want to run this particular code, let's come here on top. And now if I just click here under the console, okay, here you guys can see that I do have the Hamilton as my result. Okay, so over here, this here I do have the variable, and I didn't mention that I want to write Hamilton. But what it did once I have put the print function is that they do have collected what information I do have inside the name variable, and they do have printed that same thing over here in my particular terminal. Okay, so this is how it works. And if you guys didn't have worked in a terminal before, as you guys can see over here, I do have this particular terminal. If I just go to run option, I can come here as well. And on top, you guys can see this is the particular file where this particular thing is getting run, and this one is basically getting saved. Okay, so if you're confused where your code will get saved, here you guys can check out the location where this is going to get saved, that you can access it later on as well. Okay, so here I hope you guys to have got a basic idea what a variable it is. Okay, but here before starting with variable, I want to tell you guys few of the things which you should remember when you are creating a variable for your Python file. First of all, once you're using any kind of variable, you should not start with a word, or like you should not start with a number. Let's say instead of this one here, if I just type one name here, now if I try to run this one, let's say, now let's come here, and now let's try to run this particular code, and here you guys can see that it will show you a error, and here the reason is invalid syntax. So it's showing me that I can't use a number for a variable. Okay, like I can use number inside a variable, but I can start a variable with a number. Okay, but the same way, if I come here, I will just delete the one from here. But if I just put the one on the right hand side instead of the left hand side, and now if I try to run this code, let's see, uh, do they'll show me any answers. Okay, so let's come here, and over here, now let's put name one here as well, Control S. And now let's try to run this particular code. And here you guys can see that now I am able to run this particular code. But the same way, let's come here. If I just put one over here, and also in the print, let's put one. And now let's try to run this code again. And here you guys can see that I will have this particular error because you can't start a variable with a number. But here you guys can basically end or include a number inside the letters. Okay, so here we will also learn that what a variable should include. Okay, you guys can use the uppercase letters and the lowercase letters, let's say from A to Z uppercase letter, and also you guys can include A to Z lowercase letters, and you guys can also use numbers which is from 0 to 9. Okay, so over here you guys can just use all the capital letters, you guys can use all the small letters, and also you guys can use numbers. But over here you guys can't use a number once you're starting a name of a variable. Okay, you guys can use it inside. And also another thing which you should remember, let's say you are just creating up a variable, and over here you do have more than two words to write a variable. So you guys can start a variable with underscore as well, or with a letter. And also in many programming language, you guys will basically see that they do use the hyphen to actually link between two words. Let's say when you're typing a variable, you can't use a space in between. Okay, so if you type a space in between here, you guys can see it is not together. Okay, but if I come here and if I just put out the underscore, and now let's say name ham. Okay, so this one is now my variable because this is basically connected with a hyphen. Okay, So it totally depends on the type of programming language that you're using. Okay, so to join between two letters in JavaScript, they do use another capital letter. Okay, and also there are different languages where they do use the hyphen, quite like this. And in Python, to join two letters, sometimes what we do is we do use the underscore. Okay, so without underscore also, if you just want to type quite like this, you guys can type like this as well, but it's better to just put up a underscore in that particular place. Okay, so that looks more defined. So now the next thing what we are going to learn is that we can also modify a variable right over here. Okay, so let's say here I do have a value inside my name variable, which is Hamilton. But over here now, I will be able to modify that one as well. Okay, so let me just show you guys an example and you guys will understand about that in a better way. Okay, so I have already told you that how the code basically runs. So the code runs from top, like it first runs the first line, then the second line, then the third line, and then fourth, and it continues quite like that. Okay, so in that particular case, first what it's coding is okay. So I do have a variable which is Hamilton, and here it's giving me the command to print the name variable. And after that, let's say if I want to modify this particular variable, what I can do is I can come here and I can just put up the name variable. Let me give it up a space. And now let's put up the equals to sign. And over here, now let's put this double quote, and over here now instead of Hamilton, if I just want to type Matthew, I will be able to do that. Let's come here, let's click on enter, and now inside print I will just type print open parenthesis, and now again I will just print the same variable right over here. So as you guys can see, once it is ending over here, okay, once it's printing Hamilton, again I'm telling that okay, as you have printed this, now the name variable is equals to Matthew instead of Hamilton. So make sure you print Matthew once you run this print function right over here. Okay, so now let's click on Control S, and over here, if I click on to this run option, here you guys can see that I do have both the names right over here. So now over here, I do think that you guys have got up a basic idea about how you will be able to create up a variable and also how you will be able to modify it. And another important thing in variable that you guys should understand that if let's say if you're coming over here and if you're using all uppercase letter over here in the variable and you're just giving the prompt to print with the small case letter, you guys will be able to see an error. Okay, so let's come here and now let's click on run, and here you guys can see that the name is not defined. Okay, and also in PyCharm, they also do tell you where the basic problem is. Otherwise, if you're not understanding what it's basically saying in the terminal, you guys can see on the right hand side, they will just mark that unresolved reference name. And also they will show you what basically the problem is. Okay, so here you guys can actually change the case. Okay, if you want to print it, and here this variable in Python, it is case sensitive. So if you're coming over here, if you have defined your variable with small case letter, make sure to put out the function or the condition in the small case letter only. If you do have used in the variable the uppercase letter, make sure to put the uppercase letter inside the condition box as well, or in case of modification as well. Okay, so now let me just come here and let me just show you guys an example, and let you guys should also tell me that what the variable is going to print. Okay, so let's come here, and from here now, let me just type a variable and let me just join this one with a hyphen. or underscore fav food. Okay, so I will just type fav food right over here. Okay, let's type fav food. Let's give it a equals to, let's open up my double quote, and if I just type pizza, now let's click on enter, and over here I will just use the print function. Let's open parenthesis, and over here I want to print the fat food variable. Okay, so I will just print the fat food variable, and I'll come over here, and now I will define that fat food variable is now equals to, let's open my string, and over here I will just type fries. Okay, so I will just type fries, or let's go with onion rings, which I like a lot as well. So let's come here. I will just type onion rings. Let's click on enter. I'll just give the print command. Let's open parenthesis, and over here I will just type out the variable which was fav food. So now your assignment is that you also should create this kind of variable. As I do have created only two, you guys can create a lot. And also now you need to tell that what it is going to print when I run this particular code. Okay, so what do you guys think for now, and I'll also show you that what it will print. So now let's click here onto the run program, and here you guys can see it is printing for me pizza and onion rings in two separate lines. Okay, so this was some of the basic concept about using variables. Just remember the concepts and also what are the limitations in creating a variable, that you should not use a letter at the starting of a variable. You should use the same case which you are using in the function as well as in the variable, and also you can use all the uppercase letter, all the lowercase letter, and also all the numbers. Okay, make sure that you don't use any special characters, and also different other characters as well, like different kind of operators and stuff. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye, everyone.